Everyone, welcome back to the Solutions Lab. I'm Chris Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And today, I am very excited because we have Lenovo here to unveil for us the latest innovations they have in storage solutions in the modern enterprise. And to do that, we have a very familiar group of guests here to join us today, some faces that we've all seen before. To start things off, we've got Shannon from our D&H team. Shannon, how's it going?
Going great. Excited to be here. Thanks.
We have another familiar face, formerly from D&H, now with Lenovo, Earl. Earl, it's great to see you again.
Chris, good to see you too. I can't really say how much I appreciate D&H inviting me to come back and spend a few minutes. It's exciting times.
I feel like I was with you yesterday.
I have that curse on people.
And we, as always, we have the lovely Trish with us today. Trish, how's it going today?
Hey, Chris, it's going great. We're really excited to be here with D&H and talk about the new topics we have coming out. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you guys to take the show.
Yep. Before we kind of kick things off, I do want to kind of go over the platform for you guys. If this is the first time you're joining us for a broadcast, we will be taking questions throughout the show. If you have a question that you would like to ask, go ahead and ask or put it into the box that I just highlighted on the platform. If we can get time to get it in while the speaker is speaking and it's relevant to the topic, we'll ask it. If not, we've got about 15 minutes set aside at the end of the broadcast to get all your questions answered. We also do have some resources available for you guys that you can look at throughout the broadcast and after the broadcast. They are in the window highlighted there. But without further ado, I do want to kind of get things kicked off because we do have a lot of exciting new information to share with you. And to get that started, we're going to go over to Shannon first. Shannon,
thanks,
go ahead and
Chris.
kick this off. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join. It is really exciting to have everyone here, and I have the pleasure of speaking about our business unit at D&H. If you have followed us on our journey, we were a smaller and mighty team. We are now a larger and mightier team now. So we're pretty ecstatic. Headed up by Chuck Boyer. You can see the faces there. I'd like to tell our partners we will meet you where you are, but you have a plethora of resources on the team. So I'd like to highlight our technical team, Joel and Sean, because this is often where it starts, Chris, for our partners is some of our partners are comfortable building their own builds and bombs, but oftentimes they would like our assistance, or they're looking for us to validate and such, or they're used to another OEM and they want us to come up with a competitive deal. So again, we meet you where you are. My little line is bring us a breadcrumbs. We'll help you bake the bread. We have a team. If you look at Morgan, Dylan, Drew, Jessica, and Rayshawn, they'll help with things like deal registration, mission acquisition, which we'll talk about, as well as getting you the quotes. And then the team, obviously we have Dawn, myself, Jason, and Andrew. We're here to be strategic with you as well. Meet you face-to-face at events, be strategic, understand what your IS journey might look like. So the one takeaway here is realize we have a great team email. Pretty easy to remember, lenovoserver@dnh.com, but we are here to support. If you're interested in engaging further, please let us know. We'd love to learn more about you individually. Two great programs I want to talk about. Our partner exclusive on the Silver Bonus is the D&H Silver Bonus. So this is open to all of our Lenovo authorized partners. I do want to point out, if you're an IDG partner and you have a business partner ID or BPID, you are automatically an ISG authorized partner. So same tiering, authorized silver, gold, platinum, as you might be used to. So just know that this program is available to you. So we want to incent you to work with us. We want to get you to the D&H Silver bonus, which is a $4,000 incentive credit paid on your account once you reach $250,000 with ISG sales at D&H. It is an easier number to hit than you may think. Once you get started, it's very scalable, and we are here to support you on that. If you want to learn more, I think you can even type silver in there and we'll capture that content. Our SCORE program, you might recognize this graphic. It's historically an IDG program at D&H, the D&H SCORE program. We are expanding it into ISG. It is an opt-in program. So if you're on the program on the IDG side, we want you to opt in. So we'll be in touch with you on that. It's another opportunity to gain back-end dollars, as you can see for the silver and authorized partners. As you can tell, storage is really has a little bit of a bump there. I can't say enough about that portfolio. There's just great opportunities, and we're seeing a lot of it. And even when I talk back to, or when we look back at our team, it's really Lenovo's huge investment in D&H, as well as the investment in the portfolio, because it's winning significantly. So with that, I'm going to go into a polling question. Again, like Chris said, if you have questions, please chime in, because you see us, we don't see you. But with regard to mission acquisition, are you familiar with the Mission Acquisition Plus program and the additional benefits that were added April 1st? Fantastic program. I think I include this on every webinar we do, because the percentages still tell us that there's opportunities to evangelize this program. So if you don't mind chiming in, we would love to hear if you're familiar with this program. Yes, no, or that you're familiar with it, but not the new changes effective on April. So we have some folks participating. Would love if some of you would join in, and otherwise we're still going to tell you about it, right, Chris? We're still going to talk about the program.
Yeah, regardless of what you answer, we still want to talk about it, because it was great information, as you said, and you guys have made some changes effective April 1st. So that is information we need to get out to you guys.
All right, I'm going to give it like a couple more seconds, or Chris, if you want me to go, let me know.
No, it looks like you're good to go now.
Okay. All right, so this is the part is why I keep including it, is because there's still a lot of our partners who aren't familiar with the program. Mission Acquisition was rolled out last July. It was enhanced April 1st. My little megaphone guy wants you to pay attention here. It is an upfront program, 10% additional discount on top of deal reg. It is something that is based on the end user's qualifications. So as long as your end user has not purchased ISG portfolio items greater than $3,000 over the past 3 years, the eligibility will be there. It is done on the front end along with the deal reg process. I think I forgot to mention, or I kind of touched upon the team, that we can do the deal regs on your behalf. We can also do mission acquisition. We would love to do that on your behalf, or help you understand how you can move through this process. I think I said it is stackable with the deal reg. Occasionally there's some hot programs out there to drive certain portfolio items, and it may not qualify, but there are some additional documents that you can refer to. And obviously you'll get the slide deck where it's accessible. These are some of the kind of bullet details. Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention, shame on me. What was the enhancement April 1st? So the 10% is for the first 6 months of mission acquisition. After that 6 months, this is the amazing enhancement. You will still get 5% for the following 6 months. So really, really great program. Definitely, put you in a position to win deals, to keep your margin balance and all of that. So please, 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 if you need more information, you can reach out to us. Obviously, afterwards, we'll be in touch. It is a fantastic program. These are kind of some of the fine bullets and the details. Again, it is, if you're familiar with doing deal reg, you'll see the mission acquisition or new customer bonus is what some folks know it as. Same kind of a program under kind of, let's say, two different names, but same program. So, and I don't know if there's any questions. Obviously, Chris will man the phones on that part, but I can't say enough about this program. All right, the other program I want to highlight, because you may be selling infrastructure solutions, storage, data center items, but maybe you're not aligned with Lenovo. There is a medallion match program, and that puts you in a position, if you're currently gold or higher with another OEM, another hardware vendor, there is an equivalent medallion that can be offered to you, and Lenovo will work with you to get that going. There are a couple things in terms of working with your CAM. You can reach out to us as well, and some account mapping, or not account mapping, but some business planning is what I would like to say, business planning. And then once you're approved, your level. So why is that important? It's going to get you some of the same back-end programs, the percentages, and things along those nature. And you're going to get also the attention from not only us, but your Lenovo channel account managers. So that's a program definitely want to highlight. If you're interested in hearing more about that, please mark it down. Maybe just type medallion in, but we're happy to have expanded conversations on any of these programs, talk to you, introduce our teams, have you meet our technical folks, and just get to know us. Our SLAs are fantastic. You'll get bonds back the same day. You'll get quotes back the same day, barring any extenuating circumstances. So we would love for you to put us to the test. We're here to support you. And I think that's I do have one other polling question. So as we lead into the star of the show and the content with the new storage portfolio items, curious if you are familiar with the storage portfolio today. Are you selling it? Maybe not, but of course you're excited to learn. And then, or if you're working and selling storage solutions, but maybe with another OEM. So depending on which box works, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't want to overhype the star of the show today, but usually in the past, where if I had someone who came to me and did have questions about what kind of storage options are available, the person I would turn them to happens to be the person that's about to speak. So we have a great expert on here that's going to teach us some great stuff about storage options, especially from the Lenovo side. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more today.
We're pretty lucky, and then what you're going to also find is Earl's going to do a great job. And if you're a seller on this call, you're gonna gain some information on how to kind of position different items from the portfolio. So there will be
Earl
something.
Earl can send us $20 each for really propping him up here. Hype man.
Expensive. Yeah. Expensive.
Yeah. I was saying,
everything's a service nowadays, Earl.
No, but
I love it.
You really will, for sure. All right, so we'll peek into the results and get kind of a gauge here. So we have a percentage of folks that are selling. I know we didn't get everyone to answer, no pressure, but some folks that are excited to learn Earl, and then we do have some folks that, as we expected, are selling other OEMs. So that's my portion of the show. You're right, Earl's part's going to be amazing. So with that, I will turn it over to Chris and Earl.
Okay. Hey, I will jump right in here then. First of all, thank you, Shannon. Nice tee up. Chris, too kind. Probably don't deserve all of that, but I want to make sure we do get a chance to go back and say, let me leave this up real fast right here as we jump back in. My name and phone number are on the call. Oh, I guess they're not on the screen. Anyway, we'll go to the next screen on here again. And so real fast, as Chris said, I'm Earl Greer. I was lucky enough to have been part of the D&H Lenovo ISG team in a previous life. And over the last couple of months, I've transitioned into taking on the North American data storage sales group here. And I think when I think about what goes on here and I think about Lenovo, this storage launch, this big thing that we've been talking about for a long time internally, from a Lenovo perspective, it's a big deal. Everybody's running around right now, high-fiving. They got this thing out the door, and it's a big deal to us. But I want to walk through a couple of things that I think are going to give us a lot more sort of important pieces and whatnot. And the nice part about having a background from distribution and from being at a solution provider before is that when I look at stuff like this, I always try to look at it from a different perspective. I try to think about it like, what's going to be important for you? But first of all, the numbers. Basically, this is the single largest refresh that Lenovo has ever done since Lenovo has had ISG. That's not a small task. It's big. It took a lot of bits and pieces. There's a lot of investment that goes on behind the scenes to make sure everything is there, make sure that it's relevant, make sure it's positioned right. And I think the last thing of it, when we go back and look at it, is that there's going to be all kinds of opportunity for y'all to see and hear about what these products and what these things are. And Lenovo will have great numbers, and they'll have outstanding, reasons to go back and do this. Everything's going to be oriented in sort of a product position. What I'd like to do, if I could, is kind of sit down for just a minute and say, oops, let's see if we can do this thing just right. And there we go for this. All the launch pieces on there again. From your perspective, you might be saying, that's cool. I hear about launches all the time from all my vendors, all my partners I support. What is the big deal? And so kind of spending just a minute, what I wanted to do is I wanted to stand this and look at it maybe from your perspective and see what comes out of it. Or another way to say this is that if at the end of this presentation, you got one or two nuggets off of this list of things out there, I think it'd be successful. I'd be pretty happy for you to see it. When you look at this storage launch as a whole and you think about it for your business, one of the single largest things that it does is it provides the ability to pivot and choice. And as a solution provider, as a partner, I think there's no better thing that I can do than D&H can do is to make sure that you all have choices and options so that as your customers come to you with problems, as you look at challenges out there again, you've got enough on the shelf to pick from that'll power a solution set out there again. So what I'm talking about is things like through Lenovo, those of you currently today that may not have a Nutanix partnership can get access to Nutanix powered solutions with a Lenovo badge on them again, to take to your partners. Same thing maybe with ONTAP. You might see options out there that could really be solved with using an industry-leading software stack on your storage arrays, like ONTAP does, but you haven't gone through and spent the time or the money to become a NetApp partner. Okay, through the Lenovo partnership, all of that becomes available for you. So broader partner sets that you all get a chance to get. The competitive options that take to the market are an important piece as well too. And what we've done is we've tried to assemble this up into a fashion where if you want more, say that you're going head to head with a certain solution on here, and I'll talk about one of those a little bit later, you'll have the ability to go back in there and look and line this up. Perhaps you're doing an RFP, perhaps maybe you're just kind of talking to a customer about what could be down the road again. Okay, we've got some competition, some competitive points that you can weave into your story and take to market. Okay, some of the complex problems that are out there today involve all kinds of challenges. They come from a cost perspective, they come from density, they come from the ability to have new thoughts and new engagements built into the product set so you can solve some of these more complex problems. And as you look at this solution set, you'll see a couple of opportunities to pull those back in. The middle button is most important for me, and that says when you're going to market with a solution, if you get locked out, if a vendor that you're going to business with comes back and says, nah, can't give you the deal, Reg, somebody else has it, you can't get out there, you have a couple of choices. One of them is you can start to cry foul. You can go back to that partner and say, hey, I really, really want it. I got here first. I called you before the other person, all these sort of things. Or another option is pivot, okay? Come to battle with us on here, come to battle with D&H and Lenovo. There's a good chance that we can give you a competitive edge on there to step above that last solution on there again. Again, more options for you to pivot, okay? This concept of faster and denser, it's really like maybe one of the core tenets of the solution offering that we have today that we're making. When we made the product launch yesterday for these Lenovo data storage solutions, what we were trying to do is to make sure that we could address some of these normals, some of these kind of constants that our customers have out there. And that is data storage demands are growing, space available is shrinking, ability to pay for really expensive cooling and power bills is coming down. Okay, so all those optimizations that are going to be carried in this messaging are out there to make sure that they benefit you when you build your solution set together. The second bullet from the bottom, the speed to market, okay, just think about this as easy. We've done everything that we can do in this next kind of iteration on here to make things easier for you, from pre-configured solutions and t-shirt size kind of choice solutions assembled back up again, all the way out to little individual things like making sure that we have less bills and materials for you to pick and choose from. Okay, examples on this would be things like you no longer have to buy drives in groups of 6 or 12 drives. We have drive packs that have 2 in them, so you can get closer to maybe meeting a storage need, right where the storage requirement is. Gives you a better option, a better price point to go back to your customers. All the power supplies are going to be platinum right now. You don't got to go through and choose and pick. They're just that way. We have standardized, kind of storage sizes and whatnot. There's no longer a 2U, a 3U, 4U, 5U. We've got these standard kind of building blocks that are out there again, and we've done things like standardized drives and that sort of that as well. So to make it easy, and gosh, the last thing, if nothing else comes out of this again, there's all kinds of new stuff. There's another reason for you to pick up the phone and call your customer. Hey, it's just something new. And I think folks will probably appreciate that aspect of it. I know I did. I always like to have something new to take out there to my customers. Okay, so this is basically the splash screen for the solution set. Okay, the kinds of things that we were trying to do when we came out was to make sure that we could speak to optimization, okay, And we wanted to make sure that we could speak to efficiency. We could make sure that we could speak to performance. And then we also wanted to make sure that we had the ability on here to address security and resilience needs. Storage is built that way. In our storage launch, there's two kind of groups of products that we're going to be talking about. One of them is called ThinkSystem. Think about that as your disk arrays, your classic storage arrays. One's called ThinkAgile. That's more for the SDI or HCI solution set. Okay. And those together will make the whole launch on here. And I think that the core of this is because of all the new technology that's gone into these units, these devices, these products, and all the powerful new state-of-the-art technology that's on there, we're able to go ahead and grab extra feature sets, extra things on the outside, along the other side, and integrate it back in. Okay, so an example would be in our storage arrays, we've got the ability to add out-of-band extra performance capabilities to do things like drive AI, validated ransomware protection. Look for anomalies out there that are happening, anomalies that maybe that are causing, rapid changes in write data or rapid compression or something going on again. To stop and look at it and say, whoa, that isn't typical for us to use. We're going to go ahead and stop and prevent that from happening. Go back to maybe, immutable kind of status of that drive, almost like an old DVR, go back to the beginning and go ahead and use, clean data. And all that happens out of band. It doesn't take away any performance, doesn't take away any of the efficiency because of all the new technology. It's happening all by itself in a standalone kind of entity. All right, Shannon, what do we want to know here? Oh, hey, I'll take this one. We hear challenges all the times. I mentioned the Lenovo launch was going to go back out and was built to address some of these big challenges. But perhaps maybe if you could just take a couple of minutes and kind of scroll through this list and tell me, when you talk to your customers, what are one or two of the biggest challenges you see? This is a select all. If all of them come up again, that's also an option too. I'm interested in knowing what's top of mind for y'all.
Sorry about that, Earl. I rookie error with the mute button. I had a good joke. It was a great joke, and I just lost opportunity. Sorry.
I laughed. I heard it. It was good. We'll give them a couple minutes or a couple seconds to answer, because this is a check as many as apply to you. And I see a couple that I could easily see applying.
All right. Another minute or so?
Yeah, we'll give it another minute or so. The answers are kind of rolling in here. And again, if you guys have any questions, this is Earl speaking. Please don't hesitate. Go to the question box, ask questions. There's a couple of them that have already kind of got queued up for the end, because I feel like Earl might answer them as we go along. So I'm going to let Earl kind of keep going, and I'm pretty sure I'll have a couple of those answered before we get to the end here. So I did see a couple questions come in. I have kind of put them to the side because I feel like they will get answered, but I think we've gotten enough responses now, so I think we can kind of move forward.
Got it. All right. All right. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is so basically, it looks like there's a lot of challenges. Looks like the big ones, security and space, for sure. And definitely those were two big key points of what some of this conversation came up again. I'm a little bit surprised about power and cooling, but I guess maybe some of us are lucky enough to have calculated well up front again on the side of caution as they went through again. All right, I will keep this in mind as we kind of go forward. Let me hit on the portfolio quickly. Products that are covered in part of this launch are going to be our storage arrays over on the left. Okay, there's a big focus on flash and flash performance. And I think one of the really interesting things as you think about storage and where it's going is that we're seeing a rapid decrease in the amount of appetite for spinning disks. It's happening over time, and granted, there's still some out there. And we're seeing an inflection point where the cost is coming down on SSDs, coming down on flash. And we would anticipate, if we look at some of the details of analysts, that in 3 to 4 years on here, again, it's going to be a completely flash world. And so we've built a lot of those arrays to accommodate that. An interesting point is that it used to be something along the lines where maybe lower entry, lower need drives for speed, sat on spinning disks, and then we had maybe some of the more rapid on flash. One of those use cases for spinning disk used to be backup, used to be kind of the on-site backups. And it's interesting that our clients now are coming back with this need to get that rapid restoration of that backup data, such to the point that spinning disks are no longer accomplishing the speed need on there again. So seeing a lot of interest going through all flash. That would be our DM and DG series. The middle array out here, right in the middle of the box on here, has to do with our DE series. The DE series looks a little bit like maybe a Swiss Army knife for storage. It can be one of the very smallest of all units or entry level, yet it scales all the way up to some very high-speed TLC-powered flash arrays that can accomplish some very large workloads. And I would say overall, if you were looking at this maybe in a little bit different level, think about those boxes on the left of being on-tap boxes. The boxes in the middle are the Centricity boxes. And all these boxes have this industry-leading software that we've gotten together again with some of our business partners like NetApp, but they're in Lenovo, hardened and rocking hardware. The frame, the chassis, the maintenance, and all that again sits on our stuff. The software-defined is also part of the portfolio. That's our ThinkAgile. We'll talk in depth about that in a couple of minutes. And then to make sure all this can be plugged in and tied together again is our new high-end SAN switches that are put together again, all with that 64 gig fabric and fabric speed. So this is the stuff. This is the boxes, if you would, the products. And then we built some solution sets and whatnot as well I'm going to touch on. Now, in the interest of time, it's probably important for us to kind of know that every single one of these boxes can have a double click, a build out, and could be half an hour could be spent on each one of these groups on here, depending on what's applicable for you all on here. The most important thing I can do is give you an idea or two on where maybe these can fit, and then an opportunity to reach out to D&H, reach out to myself, and do a deeper dive on any of these that are wildly interesting. Okay. On the left-hand side, you'll see something on here called the Enterprise AI Starter Kits. And these are built around some of the new technology that we've put in place that can allow for a lot of compression, and it's got together with some pre-built kits for some of this fine model tuning, this LLM and whatnot, all kind of assembled. Think about it like an easy button for you. If a solution comes up and a partner says, I want to get my feet wet in this, here's some place that can be put together. It's a little bit more assembled, boxed up and framed, priced appropriately to get your foot in the ground. The Converge down the middle, I'll talk about that in more details. What I want to let you know about that is, again, this is specifically a play to help our clients kind of move through that challenge of the software-defined infrastructure, that virtualization space. And then last over here, again, we are the very first appliance-oriented liquid-cooled HCI unit out there again. And what we mean by this, again, from an appliance perspective, is a co-engineered solution with one of our virtualization partners, and it's got liquid cooling involved in it as well too, so that things like GPUs and that sort of thing can be integrated back in the box. Okay, can allow for a compact kind of approach and really sit back and address a lot of the cooling needs and whatnot that our partners have in the solutions. Okay, I'll talk about SDI for just a second, software-defined infrastructure, and I'm going to do this in such a way where I tee it up sort of based upon this as the premise. Okay, and there's a sentiment that's out there right now, again, in the world that says, hey, one of the big virtualization players has made a big change, and it's caused us to go back in and rethink what we want to do in this space. Okay, an example right here again from Veeam, they provided this to us again, and it says, hey, I think I want to make a change on this. And if you look at the bars over there again, you'll see that folks will look at this and maybe say, oh my gosh, I used to be pretty satisfied with what I got from VMware. Okay, it was prolific. And now with this new change in the models and whatnot, I'm actually second guessing that a little bit. Okay, Lenovo has a unique solution and a way we address this and whatnot, but that's sort of the cornerstone for us kind of thinking about how we wanted to drive our SDI solution set. So that's sort of said a little bit of the sentiment that we've seen out there, but I'm really interested in hearing the sentiment from the partners that are on the call right now again. So if you think about this real fast, again, think about what's happened with Broadcom, some of the licensing, some of the changes that have gone out there again, okay? Are your clients telling you they see no changes at all, life is good? They're concerned a bit about it, okay? There's a big concern and they're kind of thinking about maybe looking at other ones on there again, or they've had it. And they're telling you right now, again, they want to get off. What are you hearing right now from your customers?
Yeah, this was something this has been a hot topic around the water coolers here for a while at D&H. So I'm very interested to see, like you are, what our resellers are hearing, because this is a shift. It's a huge shift.
This comes up on many of our calls and face-to-face meetings, a conversation, even just discussing, for sure.
Give them about 30 more seconds. This one's easier, so it's taking less time.
You can only pick one.
I have no concerns, but I'm majorly concerned, so I'll pick both.
Both at the same time?
Yeah, at the same time. You're good. Good.
All right. And okay. So sort of reflects what we maybe what we saw from Veeam and their study as well too, and some other studies that we've done inside of Lenovo as well. Again, so options and solutions, either cautiously or aggressively, is kind of what we're seeing on there. And great, that totally lines up with us and what we're thinking as well too. Good. So if we think about that just a second, the way that we go back in and think about how this looks, can be driven a couple of different ways. And if it's strictly around the VMware, is if somebody was to say, I'm going to stay on VMware, I'm going to stay with it again, okay? Would they be looking at maybe optimizing it, kind of maximizing the install base? Would they be looking at maybe doing both, maybe some of some VMware and something else again, okay? Or is any option out there available? And really what I'm looking for, if C is an option on there again, is that that maybe you as a partner or your customers, they haven't said they want to go one way or the other, but they are thinking they want to at least have a discussion. Back to my theme earlier, making sure that you as a partner have choices.
Yeah, and go ahead and take a second to answer this question as well. I like having these poll questions in here. It makes this more of a conversation between us and the viewers out there, so we can kind of make sure that you guys are getting the information you need as we go. And also, again, still taking questions throughout the broadcast. Like I said, there's a couple that have come up that I've kind of pushed off to the side because I think Carl's going to get there. So, please keep the questions coming in, and we'll ask them when they are appropriate. Good. But I think you can go ahead and move forward, Earl, when you're ready.
Okay, got it. All right. So very few are looking to optimize the existing VMware environment. And of course, the options, the discussion, that ability to pivot and whatnot seems like it's time. Very good. Hey, thanks for that information. And so to that point then, what we have come up with is sort of a conversation or a path that we work with D&H on that basically says, if there's a virtualization issue or conversation that comes up, we see it having sort of a fork in the road or three different ways to go. One of them basically says, I'm going to stay with, maybe VMware. I'm going to leverage what I got involved. I'm using all kinds of added components of their environment, things like NSX. I'm deeply involved in vSAN. All of these things are just going to be too painful and go. What I'm really interested in looking at in the invest category is seeing how I can optimize, seeing how I can do more with less, seeing how I can go back in there and really drill into my licensing and come up with a solution that maybe gives me more options. The diversify says, hey, I'd like to look at new. Again, I'd like to look at it in such a way that says I can do a couple of different strategies in-house again, and maybe take strategies that work best in a certain case and apply them, in various fashions. And of course, divest, we all know what that means. I'm ready to launch and go a different place on there. And to help power these conversations, to help make sure that our customers and really your customers have this ability to go back in and play with D&H, we've come up with a set of tools, a set of kind of calculators and whatnot, and they kind of look something like this along these lines. They kind of look like the ability for us to go back in there and map and look for different kind of outputs and use cases and whatnot, with the whole purpose of this, making sure that we can go back in there and drive a solution powered by one of the ThinkAgile solutions. Our ThinkAgile solutions, again, are co-engineered appliances that we put out in the field for our customers. Okay, the V4 versions of it are the most in power, the most in capacity, the most in throughput on there again. We have a couple different flavors that are powered by some of the larger co-engineered solutions that are out there again, with Nutanix, VMware, and with Microsoft. And our research kind of shows that there's all different reasons that customers and end users pick these different ones, and we drive those based upon current configuration, current needs, those sort of software cost reductions that we've talked about in the past again. Okay, if that's wildly of interest, we have a big dialogue to work on that. Your D&H representative, Shannon, can go ahead and grab those and lead those conversations back in again, and we can dig through it again. The SDI announcements are kind of built in a couple of big buttons here, big boxes. I want to make sure I tie a few of these off. The most important thing has to do with the tech refresh. The tech refresh is allowing us to have a big consolidation play, a lot more bandwidth, a lot more capacity, a lot more abilities to do more with the software licenses that you're all buying. And then I'll talk about the other ones as we can and go forward. Obviously, we talked about the virtualization sales play. Really, if you think about it, it's a set of conversations and tools to figure out what individual aspects, components of virtualization each of the individual users are invested in, are tied into again, and run those back through a process to give really good options. You as a partner need options to be able to take to your customer to be differentiated. First of all, the conversation play, and the way we built these, and when we get an opportunity to go back in and spend time on this particular case, I used a VxRail conversation. It's an easy conversation to have. VxRail was the de facto standard. There was so much of that was sold and put together for driving these hyper-converged infrastructure kind of conversations. And oftentimes when we go out and look at solutions now, they're in this 4 to 5 year old range again. And what's important to know is by taking a look at one of those classically installed VxRail solutions, we can take and bring those forward into a version 4, into a ThinkAgile V4 solution on here again, with something in the case of between 3 to almost 10 to 1 consolidation ratio. Okay, that means space, that means cooling, that means all kinds of optimizations that we're going to have on this again. And it really gives us the ability to go back in there and drive more optimization. This is perfect for the customer that says, I want to change, but I don't have time right now to make the change. Let's think about making an investment on here to make the most out of the existing licenses that you have. Okay, I mentioned already about the liquid cooled. Just know that then in the use cases out there where folks are looking at going back and compressing and maybe moving some of these Gen II workloads into a hyperconverged infrastructure again, the GPUs that are involved in these put out a lot of heat. That heat needs to go somewhere again. Okay, as the industry first appliance that has liquid cooling built into it again, there's no other option for this. This could answer an RFP question for you. This could answer some sort of a space constraint or power constraint question that you might get from one of your customers. Okay, and then finally, we'll just pop into this just for a second. What I want to speak about in this ThinkAgile solution out here, specifically designed for VMware environments, and what we did was we took the software management of one of our DG arrays, and we have the ability for that to be plugged into and driven through vSphere, okay? And so we can basically take a VMware environment, maybe one that has a look that's going to be very expensive to go back in there and relicense under the new rules, and we can take and look at that in a little bit different case. The savings come from a couple of different areas. What I want to say on this again, this is not your classic 3-tier per se. This is able to be managed and driven still through a single pane of glass, okay? So the management piece is still handled, but think about just a second, if you could take a VMware cluster and maybe leverage the storage through your free tier of vSAN, okay, that's out there, and then take all the rest of the overage storage, the ones that would really drive the capacity licensing costs way up again, and pick that data up and move them onto an array. Okay, a high-speed flash-driven array with lots of intelligence, all managed by vSphere, and go ahead and manage some of those pieces of the overall cost. Okay, we've got some really nice ROI tools to go back and provide you on it again. Again, not the best solution for every use case and work case, but for something on there again that says, I'm going to stay in VMware for a while. I want to make sure my data is out there and can be portable, maybe used in a migration kind of a space, or really can go back and help us optimize our vSAN licensing costs. This is the solution for you. Okay, so I'm going to pivot real fast and go into the storage, the disk arrays. And specifically, what you want to know about the disk arrays here is, some folks think it's the best kept secret out there, okay? A lot of our clients will sometimes say, I didn't really know anything about this. We talked about this in the very beginning, just about storage, and really the polling question here is just to make sure that we are still top of mind. Okay, do we or do we not know that Lenovo had these enterprise storage solutions that are out there?
Or answering that question, Scott asked a question that I liked. I know the answer to, but I think it's a fun question to put out there. He was wondering if the liquid cooling on those devices was the internal kind or the kind where you completely submerge the device in liquid.
That's interesting. That's called accidental liquid cooling, isn't it? No. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these are definitely they're what we call a closed loop. And so there's a loop that's involved in rack infrastructure and whatnot, and it helps get the heat out of the chassis, consolidated, and moved into a smaller environment. There is open loop on the roadmap. Open loop says it's tied into more of a building kind of environment, more of a chiller and crack kind of environment. But right now, again, we're talking about closed loop. So definitely, we don't put it in something, we kind of run it through it.
Typically speaking, you don't see the submerged liquid cooling happening in the data center. It's not efficient for that.
But it looks cool. All
it
right.
looks amazing. I want to put a fake fish tank in my computer and go. Go ahead.
I love it. Oh, so sort of evenly known there. Okay. Quick advertisement sort of for this again. Okay. The storage solutions that Lenovo has together right now, again, as of today, are our stuff, our hardware with some of the really industry best software sitting on top of it again. And what we did on that was went out and said, hey, we think that these feature sets and some of these storage arrays out there are the best, but we have the option to put them in our hardware and support and manage them in our sort of support environment. Okay, this has worked well for us. Globally, we're like we're probably one of the top sub 25 and in the top sub $50,000 storage array solution providers in the market. Okay, so it's got a lot of use on there, and I would say where I'd go with some of the Lenovo's options out there again would be in some of these competitive plays I'll talk about in just a minute again, or thinking about having options for you as a solution provider when maybe it's not necessarily what you have led with it before, but you look at the requirements on there and say, I think I can do that with one of these. Okay, I talked about the DE earlier. This is our what we call our sort of Swiss Army knife. It goes from the smallest and teeniest array that we have out there all the way to these full-blown end-to-end NVMe, TLC high-performance flash storage arrays out there. We see this from folks that are using very, very early storage needs, an SMB, maybe some sort of a very generic workload, all the way to the bottom right on here again, some very large GIS and and HPC customers are using these arrays again with an amazing amount of capacity and throughput. And we do have customers right now using them even in as a service environment that have told us they're getting 2 million IOPS on these right now again. So very high performing drive set, very high performing array. These are block storage devices, and they're very, very differentiated with our new solution set out there. The stuff that we've done to them, new hardware inside, okay, very, very high performing, with very specific software that sits on time of it again, okay. That extra capacity of bandwidth has given us the ability to have lots more IO ports and bigger ports, 64 gig fiber as an example. So we've got the ability not only to have a lot of capacity in, but a lot of capacity in and out. All right, we've got some very cool integration points on here again. I talked a little bit about the ability for us to maybe go ahead and be managed through vCenter if that's a big play for you again. And we've got an option on here again to provide a lifespan of a 7-year support on here for these arrays. Okay, we see that being what's needed right now for you to go back to your customers and get them to go ahead and make an investment on here again. Hey, I don't want to have to buy new array next month, next year, 2 years, 3 years again, 7 years array. This is way different than some of our competitors. I'll talk about here briefly in just a second. And then the last thing on here again, and that has to do with top seller models. Okay, t-shirt size storage arrays available through distribution fast, configured fast again, not a bazillion options to pick and configure from. Click, 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 go, and get the solution out to your customers. When I talk about kind of competitive and whatnot, I'll just share this from kind of a high level. A DE series from us, from a Lenovo solution, has got both the high performance and the lower end all in one sort of an array. If I compare that against maybe what's going on out there again, like in the HPE MSA space, it's important to know that that MSA didn't come forward with a 1000 series array. There is no entry level box any longer. Okay, the MSAs are built with a couple of hardware specifics that don't allow for end-to-end NVMe. It doesn't allow for all the channels right now, doesn't allow for all the throughput capacity in and out on the top end again, and certainly doesn't have 7 years on there. The technology is getting long in the tooth. There's only so much that can be done in the space. Okay, similar conversations for Power Vault as well. What I'd say in this space is that if it's competitive at this level, your D&H solutions architects, your D&H BDMs and whatnot will have some of this competitive information they can share with you line by line to make sure that you understand how to position this to be a better roadmap, a longer lasting solution for your customer set out there. Okay, if I progress up the stack just a little bit, let me jump into the DM and DGs real fast again. Just know these are ONTAP powered solutions. These boxes out here are built to have multi-protocol. That means they have storage file systems on them again. They've got the latest of technology on there. They're 2Us. They got super dense footprints on here. If you take a 5-year-old storage array that's out there again, okay, if you were going to put something out on the floor, with needing, a certain amount of capacity, a certain amount of space, know that we can do all that now in 2U, okay? And by being able to do that in 2U, you save all of those things that are out there for you again with just a cost basis. Heck, there's times that you could just do a straight ROI just on the power and space if you're in a colo rack or on-prem environment to come up and pay for where these go again. This is just where the technology is going. What we have right here is the latest in technologies. Okay, by us using this new technology, we've also got the ability to offload all of this AI-driven, kind of data protection. We got the ability to look at the data that's coming in, and when it's acting, different, when it's acting oddly, we can go back in there and stop it. And we can do that without hurting any kind of the arrays and whatnot. So AI-powered, kind of data protection, AI-powered ransomware needs. Another important point on here as well is that we've got the ability to do federated kinds of approaches to administration. What it means by that is that this accidental removal of storage and LUNs by an administrator, it can be set so 2 administrators got to do it. It's sort of like 2 buttons to press to make this thing happen. Lots and lots of technology built into this. The DM and DGs are the most advanced arrays that we have. Again, with the new technology underneath them, it allows us to get a ton more done. Last thing I'll talk about on here is easy. These things are easy, okay? We can go back and buy two drive packs. We've got lots of options to get in exactly where we need to be. We're end-to-end NVMe. We've got SSDs that are all self-encrypting. There's no reason to pick, do I need self-encrypting or not? They just come with self-encryption on them again. It's sort of state-of-the-art. All the drives are going to be SSDs, and of course, all of the highest-end titanium power supplies for this. Last thing I'll just say about the storage as a whole is that if you have these storage arrays with this power, you've got all these head units with all these I/O ports, you got to connect them the way that things need to go again. So the new DB series, this is our new fiber channel switches and whatnot on here again, all 64 gig, okay? And 64 gives you the ability not to have only more throughput, but allows jobs to finish faster. Okay, and this is state of the art. This is where SANs are going. Not everybody has 64 gig ability to drive in their arrays. No, we do, and this is kind of gives us that end-to-end high performance kind of a play on here. Okay, so remember the positioning on here. Just kind of keep it in mind. Our DM and DGs, they're on-tap solutions. They do a lot. Our DEs, kind of the Swiss Army knife on here again. Okay, I got a couple nice plays on here, and I'll kind of land this thing real fast again and say, gosh, if I was looking at this bunch of storage boxes and this bunch of products on here again, what I was hoping that you would get out of this conversation is the ability to look at it and say, do I have the ability as a partner to pivot, to have options, to provide new solutions for my customers, and can I do it in a way that can make me be more important, make me some more money with my customers? So instead of saying, so what, okay, I was gonna say, that's what. This is what this thing is all put together for you to help bring forward. So thank you for that. Chris, actually, I think, cool.
Yeah, we're going to have we're going to have a little invitation, not so much a polling question, but we'd like to invite you to have kind of a deeper dive with us and with some of our Lenovo counterparts. So if you're interested in having that storage discovery or planning session for yourself, for your organization, click yes. Don't hurt my feelings with no. But we'll give you the opportunity to answer that question. We can get more prescriptive with you. We can pull in, introduce you to Lenovo resources that are working potentially with the end users that can work with you. It's a channel-friendly company. Lots of great opportunities here for us to go deeper with you on that. So we'll give a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, we'll give a couple seconds.
We'll give a couple seconds for an answer, and as people answer, I will go ahead and kind of start the Q&A side of things. So we're kind of moving two things at once on. There's two questions I wanted to get to. One of them I actually do want to refer back to one of the slides, so I'm going to save that one for a second. So the first one I'm going to go with is to either you, Shannon, or Earl. Are the storage options that are available, are they all CTO, or are there storage options that are available in stock, in inventory at D&H?
So I'll hop in, and Earl, if you want to kind of augment. So config to order on the storage solutions. I don't know if there's a strategy down the road, Earl, with some of the announcements, but pretty much it's going to be config to order. But there are top choice options so that it can get turned around pretty quickly from a build perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of having to have, to have a D&H have the responsibility for these and holding them all the time right now, what we're doing on these choice options, these top choice options, is having them assembled in our factory right now again, so that we can get them out into the field much quicker. So I would say it's sort of a just-in-time kind of a thing, Chris, but it's able to be really, really quickly, kind of fulfilled.
Yeah, and the benefit, again, we're assisting with the configurations, the builds, and getting that support from Lenovo when needed. All right. The other invitation, did you have another question you wanted to address?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the other thing we want to, this is kind of exciting because we had Trish who introduced earlier. I asked her to put up some money to help kind of a customer with an event. So first of all, are you interested in holding an event in territory with your customers? Obviously, once the message gets pushed down, we're going to see more success. So if you'd like to do that, or maybe thinking about it, please hit yes or maybe. And then from the yes and maybes, we'll pick a winner and give you $500 to put towards an event and help promote that. We can also help support from a content perspective and pulling in experts. I was going to say, if the winner's in California, maybe Earl, you could be, we could, no, I'm putting on the spot. I'm just joking. No, but there's a plethora of resources. But there's lots of resources, right? Or we have experts.
Trish, pick a winner in California.
Shannon and team, we do have lots of resources available, and we're very excited to lean in with D&H and the D&H partners, and actually extend that out to, what end users or what geography you're calling on. We are looking to support you guys the whole way through. As Shannon said, we are a channel first organization and very excited to participate in this with D&H.
Yeah, I just want to add too, we saw this work. We had a partner we've been working with on the IDG side as an organization, and they didn't really feel that this was going to be a play. And then they hosted a luncheon. And let me tell you the stories, there's just been opportunity after opportunity, and that's been in the education space. So I would say this is a conversation that is worth having for sure. So we hope that you will take us up on that offer, and then again, we'll pick a winner. So that is, I think I'm at the end. Yeah.
Yep. I do have one more question I'm going to ask here, and we are coming close to the top of the hour, so I'm going to do a last call for questions here as we're going through this one. I am going to back up your slide deck here to this deck and looking at the enterprise portfolio positioning, because that's what this question's around from John. He was looking for recommendations from you, Earl. He asked two questions, but they kind of merge into one. He's looking for what's the best options if you have customers that are looking for high availability solutions versus a customer that's looking for something that's a little bit more disaster recovery that has replication from location to location, but in the SMB market, so good price for performance.
Yeah. I would say that if the need kind of fits something beyond block storage, if there's a need for data services or an opportunity for the customer to leverage data services, so things like replication, things like file services, that sort of thing on there, again, a DM or a DG would be the way to go on that. And we could help through a couple of sizing tools get a little bit closer within that. Again, a DE is going to be a block storage device. So really, you'd be needing to use another piece of either software or ancillary, device to help drive some of that replication. Whereas the DM and the DG sort of have those value-added services, and many of the other ones built in before. When I hear the words resiliency, uptime, I keep thinking about maybe a clustered pair of DGs or DMs out there.
All right.
And happy to have more conversation on the two, John. Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for us today. There's no more questions. Earl, Shannon, Trish, thank you so much for joining us. A lot of great information, Earl. Real quick, around the horn before we go, where's the best place people get in contact with you after this event? We'll start with you, Earl.
Oh, sorry. Go, Earl.
We'll start with you, Shannon, now instead. Sorry.
Well, I was definitely going to say, go back to our team slide, Lenovo server at dnh.com. We're making dials as well to get on your radar, but this is the, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Lenovo server at dnh.com, best way.
Bug, Joel, and Sean, they're two fantastic technical resources here at D&H. Can't speak highly enough about both of them.
It was great. Chris, thanks for having me. Shannon, thank you. Thanks, D&H. Trish, thanks for joining us again. And get hold of me through D&H at any time. Happy to jump on a call with you and take this to the next level.
Awesome. Thanks, Earl.
Thanks, team.
Thank you for joining us today. And if you have any more questions, comments after this, Lenovo server at dnh.com. If you missed part of this broadcast and you're looking to watch it again, we'll be available on demand late this week or early next week. And kind of stay tuned for more as we go. But thank you so much for joining us, guys. See ya.